Thank you all for tuning in. This is Scott Ross. I got Timberwolf with me today,
How's it going?
and we have also a special guest here in the form of Chris Hoskins, who's one of the Bug Bashers. Thank you all for tuning in. This
What's
is
happening, folks?
Scott Ross. I got Timberwolf. Give me a second. I got a today leak of
How's it going?
sound, and we have there. We go. There's sound. It's always an audio thing that goes on. I blame
Well,
Timber.
well, it wouldn't be a show or pilot review show without technical difficulties, but we do have a very serious matter we do have to discuss with everybody. And this
Yes.
video will be posted on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever we can, so long as this issue is still around. We're going to have Chris, our guest from the Bug Hunters, describe what he's seeing and what it could be potentially.
Yep, and one of the things, for those of you that's out there listening, please, if you happen to have a good sized audience on Twitch or YouTube, especially Twitch, please do us a favor um, and host us so that you can reach your audience members that you have, especially if you have a large group of Star Trek Online people. We want to reach as many as we can to get this out there and discussed. Um, so that's one of the things that we're trying to do. Just get it out there. Um, we need to make this information available. We're not going to go through the details and tell you what could happen because we don't want you to know all that kind of information specifically. But we do want you to know some of the security things that you should be taking in for your own safety and your own peace of mind, so to say. Um, Chris, so question for you. Um, Obviously, we've got this DDoS guy that's been going on here for since last year. He at first it just started off seemed like it was just a DDoS attack itself, but after a while, you started noticing something funky going on, didn't you?
That is correct.
So what were you seeing per se?
I myself, at certain instances, it would pop up a screen for a few moments to where I had access to certain, how should I say, command options that I should not have access to as a player unless given remote access or actually accessing a cryptic server itself and me physically being there.
So, what kind of access are we talking about? Are we talking about simply a command prompt?
It displays kind of like a black background version of the launcher. It has the cryptic logo, has a couple of the links to the articles, and then there's an option where I could put in a username, a password as if I'm trying to log in, but it also has two other boxes which just appear as white text boxes, and in those you can enter anything at all from a full-on command that could restart the launcher and potentially lead to other things.
And the reasoning we're discussing this is because, from what he's described, this is a technical temporary, even if it's for a few seconds, it's a temporary loss of security on the cryptic server side, potentially. What that means is it's not only something that could restart the servers, but if our theory is correct, then using the right program in conjunction, even for a second, if it's available, it could lead to data mining of information on accounts. That is why we're here.
Yes, and that's one of the biggest concerns. I mean, obviously, none of us are exactly security experts per se, but we do have enough knowledge of the computer world to know when these things should not be happening. For example, what Chris is getting, the prompt in the window, should not be coming up, period.
Oh hell no! It's something that my company deals with. We run an old program that has some basis in MS DOS, but you are not able to physically access that database at home unless you're given certain programs and then certain command prompts. There's no way to remote access it. What's happening is that he's able to remote access without permission, and it's because of the DDoS attack.
Yeah.
Which, if it's being done on purpose on a certain person's end, they're purposely getting that access. it's just filtering to other players by accident. They don't know what they're seeing when they boot up their launcher, and they're closing it out thinking it's a bug, when temporarily they have the same level of access that this DDoSer has.
Yep. Now, I should make note here for those who are listening. This is not to say that it is okay for you to go and try and grab information. We're not endorsing this.
No, if
one bit.
anything, quite the opposite. The whole purpose of this as admins is we're making for sure that we're broadcasting the safety and security of the player base that is part of the Facebook group, that's a part of Valican Stream, anybody that plays STO. This potentially, we're not saying it is, but it is potentially a security risk from what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And just as a safety precaution, we are asking that if you have any payment information linked to PWE Cryptic, disconnect it. Just disconnect it for as long as the DDoSes are occurring during this weekend or however long it's going to take. Simply don't have it saved on their servers. Disconnect it. For as long as it's there, it's a similar issue to what happened with the PlayStation Network a few years ago. The network got hacked, and then millions of accounts, even if it was for a fraction of a second, were exposed. They asked you to reset your passwords, or if you felt safer, to disconnect your payment options.
Yep.
That's all we're asking, because we want to make for sure at the end of the day you're not getting a surprise charge on your card that you need for bills, and it's $200-300 for something else that you never authorized.
Yeah.
So it's merely for security purposes. And if at the end of the day nothing happens and that's not what's happening, then fantastic.
You secured yourself down at least, so you don't have to worry about it happening.
Yeah, but it's merely a precautionary measure. Just because of the level of access we're seeing, that's a bug, that is a glitch due to this DDoS attack. And we just don't want anything to happen to any of the player base inadvertently because of one person's actions.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I definitely would recommend is if you guys happen to have a what could be considered a simple password, meaning that it is a password that you could go grab from a dictionary and type it in, and that's all you'd have to do. That kind of stuff, you definitely want to make sure that you got a better secured password. I mean, when we talk about it, secured password typically includes at least one capital letter, numbers and letters, and sometimes you even want to include some special characters into that password. Now, I'm not saying that you need to make this password so complicated you'll never remember it again. What I'm saying is you should not be using something like happy123. That is not exactly a secure password. You count might be liable for a brute force attack, but in this case here, changing it even recently might cause him to not be able to get it if he is doing this. We don't have confirmation that this is what's going on. The only thing we do know, and I can point this out, is Trinity has pointed out that there's some things that is going on that she cannot share because of security issues.
And it has to do with their net team. So they're working with their network team when it comes to security, which, they don't have to say anything overtly. They've already mentioned the fact, with as little as possible, they're looking at their network. They're looking at their security. They wouldn't be that secretive about their security if something wasn't up. Yes. And they're trying to take precautions for their player base because they are concerned that something is happening that could be a little nefarious.
Yeah.
Even if it's just an accident by a random kid DDoSing a server, they're making for sure that, okay, something's going on our network, on our security end. We need to take some more serious actions or look into this. So if they're, and I use this pun unintendedly, if they're being cryptic about their responses to the community and they're trying to keep a wrap on it, but they're taking it seriously, the player base should too. And just the added precaution of changing your password or unlinking what you have for payments, and simply for the time being, whenever you do a payment, typing in all the info and then paying. That way it's not saved. It's a momentary purchase. That's going to be your best option. If you're using Steam for purchases, it's a little bit better because Steam is separate, so it has their own security. But at the same time, you're not entirely sure how many levels are there between Steam and Arc.
Yeah, so you got to be cautious about that. The other thing that you want to be using, if you can, is to definitely make sure you're using PayPal for payments because you got that security there. So that's another thing you could be using as well.
Yeah.
Um, or you can be using cards that already have a preloaded amount on there, so you don't have to worry about it coming from your bank account. Obviously, that's the best way to do it. In this case here, where we could be looking at some security issues. So let's put it this way: when it comes down to your security, Cryptic is going to do everything they can because they don't want to deal with the consequences that's going on. For example, if some of the information is leaking out, they are obligated to give the protection to the users.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things you need to be aware of. That is very real possibility of what could happen should this be what's going on.
And like I said, we're not on a soapbox being paranoid, trying to put tinfoil on your head. We're not doing that.
No.
Okay, I know people like that. We're not going to do that. But there is a difference between being paranoid and simply being precautious in nature. And right now, it's just a best practice for precaution and safety to unlink any accounts that you have as far as payment accounts and just, not purchase anything until you've made for sure the DDoS is over. Because anytime a DDoS is in effect, there is that potential from what we've seen. So it's just an added level of security on your end while Cryptic works out their security issues and makes it better for you. Because they're, like Scott said, they're not going to leave you hanging. They're not going to leave you unsecure because they're legally binded to protect your information that they store. So they're going to do everything that they can to keep you safe and keep your payment information safe. But at the same time, we as players can also take added precautions as well. And it's just that way, at the end of the day, when this guy is gone, he's been caught, he's been stopped, or he gets bored of doing it and moves on to something else, you're more secure in how you purchase things for this game, and your information that you use for your day-to-day bills has not been compromised. And that's the last thing anybody wants.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that we want you to be aware of some of the things that we are seeing, that we have seen, so that if it does occur, you haven't at least been forewarned by us, as because we're not just trying to get it, throw this information, be the first ones to throw it out there. We want to make sure that the members of our group on Facebook and anywhere else is able and capable of being aware of the latest adventures going on with Star Trek Online. This is one of those things that we want to make sure that you're capable of being aware of, so that if something is happening, it is not simply it's not simply you're not being aware of it. You're not even knowing what's going on, and all of a sudden someone says, "Oh yeah, we got this DDoSer who did this," and you're like, "Oh, I didn't even know that happened." We were trying to get you some of this information ahead of time. If we can get some people from Cryptic on with us, we will definitely get them into a room with us so we can discuss this with them on the line with us. Would love to have someone from there, whether it be Trendy or be one of the network team, so that they can discuss what they're seeing and what the obligations, what's going on, and what's the impact, what is going on. So far, we only know from what we see as players, and that's where it's a little scary, because we're seeing some of the stuff that looks like we should not have access at all. And if we're seeing this information, there's no doubt other people can see this from time to time.
Have you got anything to add, Chris? Because you are the one that's seeing this the most, and as a programmer and IT guy, you know the implications of this more than we do, as far as where it could lead or security in that regard. Besides unlinking accounts, basically just paying through PayPal, or not saving anything, is there anything else precautionary wise the players could do, or is there any advice that you could give them?
I think one of the biggest things I could say, and I think should be said is, there's no need to panic with any of this. There is a lot going on behind the scenes, things that I can't talk about and everything. But the big thing is this can be very frustrating for a lot of people. A lot of people may be getting irritated with the developers, everything. I work with these people a lot whenever I'm testing bugs, all of those things. They're great people. They are trying to work on this. And if there are people out there that may be a bit concerned about their security, about things such as that, then there are actually a few programs that I personally would recommend that I use. One of them is the Malwarebytes anti-malware software. There's a paid version of it, and then there's a free version of it that you can download. That is one of the best anti-malware programs out there in the industry.
Yep.
I've never had any issues with it. Then, if you have a good antivirus, a free one is the Avast antivirus if you want something for free. If you're on an older system like Windows 7, you might consider the Microsoft Security Essentials, again, another free antivirus program. And pretty much just being aware of things, pay attention. If something doesn't look right, obviously, I would not advise continuing on. Now, in this case as well, I personally would not advise antagonizing this person, because we don't know if he's working alone. We don't know if he has help. I as well, not to cause alarm to anybody, but my computer in and of itself was hit. This person tried to computer offline. Had I not been sitting at the computer, I have no doubt that it would have destroyed my hard drive. So this is a high level thing. This is not something to be taken lightly, not something to be trifled with. And I do not advise it even for the higher level computer users. Now, I myself have A+ training. I have training from other sources, and it's like I say, it's not something to be taken lightly. So definitely use caution. If you see a lot of SNRs happening and it's a DDoS attack, I would advise getting out. That way you don't have to worry about, any potential things happening. Most likely nothing will, but I'm saying as, a fellow player, as a bug hunter, don't take the chance.
Yeah, and if you guys are kind of curious on if it is a DDoS attack going on or if there's some other network issue, one of the best ways to find that out is by going to their Twitter stream. They keep that pretty regular for the most part when they update if there's anything going on to impact the game in any way, shape, or form. Um, I will be linking that in the video notes here. For those who are currently on the streams watching, I'm linking it into the chat right now for you guys. On both Twitch and on YouTube here, so both of you have, so all you have that information. That's the official Twitter account for Star Trek Online. If you want to keep it updated on the news that's going on with the game, if there's a DDoS attack going on, that's obviously your first source that you should be looking at going to, and your best source when it comes down to it as well for any other news that is going on with the game, like if there's new patches, or if there's new blogs that the game has come out with recently. So, but that's some of the things that we want to do. I can't think of anything else that is of utmost importance right now. Is there anything, Timber or Chris, that you guys want to add here?
It's just with anything that is the internet, you always take extra precautions, and we have had responses on what I posted on our Facebook group about this. And, that's what I'm saying. I'm not subscribing to paranoia or anything. It's just one of those things. If you would have heard about this happening to Target and you shopped at Target the day before, you'd go out, you check your bank accounts real quick. Okay, nothing happened. Let me quickly just change my password real quick. Okay, that's taken care of. It's just one of those things. Since you're shopping on the internet, you just take that extra little precaution, and then for a fact you protected yourself. And if something comes down the line that does occur on the company's side, the company that is affected always does what it can for its consumers. So in the long run, they will take care of you if wrong has been done to your account. But there's nothing wrong in taking a few extra precautions when shopping online, and that's essentially what we're doing is we're shopping online for this game. So, like I said in the beginning, nothing may come of this. It might just be a douchebag or a group of them that just loves doing this to piss off the player base,
Yeah.
and they have no idea what the secondary effects of this are. But as an added precaution, it won't hurt you to change a password or to unlink something for a couple of days just to be on the safe side. And I think that's about the best message is. It's not paranoia, it's not trying to stir panic. It's simply take that precaution. You take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to make those extra precautions, and then you've got the rest of the day to relax and just have fun
Yeah,
playing STO again
exactly.
or playing what you want.
Yeah, the biggest thing to take note here is this is not done until either the kid is officially completely done trying to attack the game in whatever for whatever purpose and reason he's doing, or until he's in jail because of anything that he's been doing that could be or is illegal at this point in time. So we don't, and when that happens, you'll if you're part of the Facebook group, you'll definitely get notice of that because it'll probably be one of the things that someone talks about. Hey, by the way, this guy got captured and put in jail, and everything got confiscated and whatnot. You'll see that. You'll probably hear a note of that. I would not recommend following this guy on Twitter, honestly, but he, as a note of caution, if you want to be aware of when things are going to go down, he does advertise when he's about to start an attack, and so you can have that moment to get off the server and not have to worry about the game crashing while you're doing something. Hopefully, you're not in the middle of a STF or other mission along the way at that point in time. But that's one thing. I'm not going to give you that information personally. Okay, I'm just telling you that he is on Twitter posting up this stuff and how and when he's about to do this attack. So, but that's one of the big things I want to just we want to get this out to you guys so you're completely aware of it and you're able to accomplish your best security that you can get from the game, as well as being able to still enjoy it and not have to worry about any of the negative issues that this could or is bringing to the game.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very worst, if nothing is going on, at the very worst, he's taking the game down for a few minutes at a time. That's the very worst. Hopefully, that is the very worst that we'll see.
Yeah. And for you, those of you that are watching that are also discussing this on Facebook, we've been discussing the evidence this whole time about what we've seen and everything. There is a difference between a DDoS attack, which we know is occurring, versus a man-in-the-middle attack, which we have seen. And there's a difference between that and what we have seen recently with the basically the breach of security. Now, the reason that no one at Cryptic is saying anything, because we have people that are saying that they've tried to contact Cryptic to get a word about this, they're being silent. It's because they are trying to figure out what they can do. They are going to be silent until they've fully talked it over and they can get a plan of action to start fixing it.
Yeah.
Because it's not if there's a security breach, it's no longer about the video game. And they're going to care less about the video game stability. They are going to care about their network security, and they're going to care about the information that's saved for accounts. So that's going to be a paramount issue.
Yep.
They're not going to be worried about lag in the game. They're not going to be worried about that you can't log in. They want to make for sure that your information is safe. Then they'll worry about just taking care of the standard DDoS. So they're being silent for a reason. It's understandable that they're being silent and they're not saying much, because they have a lot on their plate they're trying to figure out, considering this is not the first DDoS attack that's happened, but considering that this is the first time we're seeing where their network team is taking security very seriously because something more than a DDoS is occurring. So you got to give them time to work everything out, and eventually they will come out with something. Even if it's, hey, we've stabilized things, we're also working on security in the background, give us time. They'll say something,
Yeah,
but you
they
got to
just
give them
won't say
time.
what. And you have to remember, I mean, we're talking, if it is security, they don't want to give people a heads up that something in security that they had to change is going on, because that could lead to not just this kid seeing that it's going on, but could lead to other people taking advantage of it at the time when it's going on. Okay. We do have a question here from YouTube. I will point this out. The person just got done upgrading the computer, still continuously crashes in the middle of a loading screen. I would not say this is DDoS. If it's going on continually, it's not DDoS. When you know it's DDoS, what's going to happen is your game will completely crash, and you'll see like a server not responding message. Okay, that's when the DDoS is going on. You'll suddenly see it lag, and your rubber band real heavily in the game. Your game won't not just load; it will just, you'll see this lag, and then all of a sudden SNR, and then the game will close up because it's got no connection. So that's what happens at a DDoS attack.
And that's assuming that you're even able to stay logged into the server at all.
Yep. Yeah, that's assuming you stay on longer than 5 minutes. I mean, sometimes some people, because of the connection paths that they're taking, might have a little bit longer delay between when the DDoS attack starts and when it finally hits them. Like the other day, I was still in game while some other people were saying, "Oh, the DDoS attack is going on. I got kicked off," and I'm like, "I'm playing and I'm playing. I'm doing stuff." It happens. So you just got to be aware that um, you'll know when the DDoS attack happens, because it's not just you. It's like a mass disconnect for everyone, and you'll typically see an SNR that will go on prior to when it kicks you out of the game completely. So that's one of the things just to be aware of on that front there. So that's like, if you want, like I said, the best way is to keep an eye on Twitter. He seems, and I'm not going to say this as a gold magic blanket to cover everything every time that he's doing it, but he seems to be doing it at night.
But he's doing it during the weekend because, well, it's the weekend.
It's
A
the
lot of people don't.
heaviest hit. It's the heaviest impact in traffic to the server. So he's going to. We think, some of us is just thinking that he's just doing it for attention right now, and more than likely that's what it is. I mean, there's other rumors out there that he did it because of breakup with an ex, others because of something going on with Neverwinter that he doesn't like, and we just happen to be getting the kickover from Neverwinter being on the same server as Star Trek Online.
Yeah, that's all it is. For us to play STO, we're merely collateral damage for Neverwinter. That's all we are. Just like any other game that's on the ARC servers, we're merely collateral damage, and the more we feed into it, the more likely it's going to happen.
Yeah,
And it's a very unfortunate scenario because a lot of us want to be playing. I mean, hell, right now we got our flagships finally at tier 6. I would love to be personally able to play. Right now, though, I'm taking a break just because I'm working out my security, and then I'll log back in.
Yep. I mean, the most that you'll be seeing from me later on is I'll probably grab Timber later on to do a quick review of the flagships. Hopefully, get enough time to get all 9 ships pulled out from the new bundle here, and get that reviewed, and then do a second video for some of the other ships that I have collection that came out recently from the new lockbox. So when it comes down to it, and that's another reason why my time has been very minimal playing this game lately, is because I've seen these DDoS attacks very regular. I mean, if it's not every week, it's every other week or every couple weeks. So just be aware that it has been going on for a little while now. Cryptic is and has been doing things, and I think they've locked off some paths that he was using to get the DDoS to go through. But the problem is, you got to remember, this is the internet. If you lock off one path that goes into the server, there's still a half dozen other paths that can typically be found still until it gets locked down.
Yeah,
That's what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to lock down those paths so that they can get it's safe and secure for everyone to play the game once again. Because if we're not playing, they're not making money.
And that's the big thing. That's why I say they're taking it very seriously, because any loss of time for even a small group of players is a loss of metrics, it's a loss of time, it's a loss of money, it's a loss of potential profit. So they do take it seriously every time a DDoS happens. We as players will get frustrated. I'll be the first to admit I do get frustrated when, I can't log in and play this game because of a DDoS, because that's what I've allocated my time to do. But I know in the long run it will get solved, and that's what after a few seconds calms me down. I can just go to something else, play it for a while, and then it'll get resolved for the rest of the day. We'll be okay. So we're gonna have a process going forward that Cryptic is trying to work on, and if they're willing to work with some of the player base that is seeing these issues, they're trying to help, with their IT and network expertise that can go all the way to. We have some people that we're friends with that work with contracts with Disney and with the Department of Defense. So we do have some serious IT and network engineers in the player base and within our friends lists that are willing to work and help with this problem. Eventually it'll get fixed and it'll be a distant memory.
Yep.
It's just going to be a rough patch to go through. That's all it is.
And it's one of those things. It's just like some of the past bugs where you try doing one thing and the game crashed every time you try doing this one thing for you. It takes a little while for for things to get patched up so it doesn't do anything. In this case, here it's taking time to figure out what he's doing to get in. We might already know what he's doing, but figuring out how it's getting through is the biggest issue that can go on with networking here.
Yeah.
Because he might be using some random port or using a port that has to be open on the firewalls to be able to let traffic get through to the game. And he might be coming through under a cloud of disguise, so to say. So that might be one of the things that might be going on there. So the point is we don't know exactly what's going on. If I can get someone from Cryptic to come join us on a stream here to kind of go over things with you so we can kind of ask a couple questions, I promise we won't bite. I'll even keep Timber.
I was about to say I bite. I don't know what y'all talking about.
I'll keep him from biting too much. But if we can get someone from Cryptic, we'll definitely do another stream on that. I definitely want to say, if there's any questions, guys, feel free to come onto the Facebook group, ask us. Feel free to make a comment on the video here on YouTube. And most importantly, if you know other people that play the game, pass the link along. Let's make sure as many people as we can is aware of things that they can at least know what's going on so that they're not going to be caught with their pants down, so to say.
This is entirely true. And of course, whenever we have an update for you, we will post it in the Facebook group. We will post it on Twitter. And if it's a big enough update, we'll broadcast and we'll bring in the players or engineers or whatever have you that knows the information. We will bring it to you.
Yep.
So
that's our purpose.
Don't worry about not knowing what's going on, because we will find out what's going on. We'll try to keep you in the loop.
Yep. And that's one of the things that we always do. We're always aware. As soon as things start going on, we start looking at seeing what is going on and why it's going on, and seeing if we can't get a hold of people that do know what's going on in the deeper levels of things. But as soon as we got more information that we can share with you, we will definitely do another stream later on, even if it's in a couple of hours that someone says, "Hey, I can join you." I will do a stream in a couple hours if I had to. So, to make sure that you guys get the information that you need to do everything that you need to do to enjoy your game playing experience and to be safe and secure and be comfortable with what's going on. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Timber. Thank you both of you for coming on. Thank you, especially Chris, for you explaining what you have seen, and for your sound advice that you guys have brought. Unless you got anything else that you want to bring up, we'll go ahead and end this.
No, this is all about the player base. This is about making sure the player base is safe. It's what we do. I mean, we've always made that pledge with being admins, being players in the 602 or wherever. We're here to help our fellow players, whether it's with a build or whether it's with network security. We're here to help, and that's all we're trying to do. So as far as I'm concerned, we're just doing our job, and we hope it's appreciated at some point, because a lot of people would just let it go, not speak on it. We're trying to, at the very least, just keep you up to date with what we know from what we're able to grab from behind the scenes. So
Yep.
hopefully we can get you more info after all of this is over, and then we're done with it. I'm hoping there's a resolution soon. I'm
It
hopeful.
is. Yeah, that's the big thing. And I understand everybody. This is very frustrating and whatnot. It is a pain. It's essentially, I don't know how to describe it other than somebody just wanting to be a jerk, to put it mildly. But like I say, these are the developers that I've worked with. They're good people. They're very good at their jobs. Trendy, especially, all of that crew. You know, I can assure you that there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes, even with just me testing bugs in game and all of us, that the average player doesn't see. And a lot of stuff they do as soon as we report something. Usually it's looked at, they take their time, they fix it right, and yeah, pretty much essentially just don't let the frustration get to you. That's essentially what this guy wants.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you let it get to you, then he's won, basically. But thank you all for watching. Um, as always, we're here to get you the most information, the best information that we can get you. Um, and if you want to keep up to date on when we're going live and whatnot, feel free to click the subscribe button at the bottom, and you can make sure to follow us there. There's also our Twitter account that you can follow, um, which you can keep up to date on what we're doing for the pilot review show and Timberwolf's shows that he does. He's also got his own show. He's also got the show that he goes on to from time to time. Um, but we're definitely here for you, and thank you very much for joining us. Even I had to throw this out there. Thank you, Navadan, for joining us, at least in chat here. Um, and once again, the YouTube video will be up here and be ready here shortly. Uh, Pass it along to as many people as you can. As soon as I see it's finished processing, I will be posting it on YouTube and on the Facebook groups, both groups. So thank you all very much for coming and joining us.
Thank you, guys.